Welcome back to Fox 5 on the Hill live this Sunday morning. You know, stock indexes, they hit a record number on Friday. The Dow closing above the 40,000 mark on Friday after the latest inflation numbers eased slightly in April. Lower food prices, lower car prices, those both help bring the consumer price index down to 3.4% in April, just barely down from the 3.5% in March. But still, that was enough to give investors hope that the Fed will ease rates possibly, seems like we've been saying this for a while now, in September. Michael Bright is the CEO of Structured Finance Association, and he joins us live here. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Great.
So, you know, one of the dynamics and the weird things about this economy right now is every time, you know, a CPI comes out or an unemployment number comes out or any of these financial data points comes out, the news has been good, okay? But when you talk to people, as we do at Fox 5, in supermarket parking lots, down at the mall, anywhere anybody's shelling out money for everything, they're not feeling it. So can you unlock this disconnect? Why are these data points looking okay, but people are not feeling okay?
Yeah, for sure. It's a real dynamic. It's playing out at households all across the country. Really, it is inflation. So the economy is overheated. It's been overheated since 2020. And that's really what's driving stock markets hitting record highs, 40,000 on the Dow, as you pointed out. It's happening actually globally. So everywhere from Japan to the UK to the United States, the global economy is very, very hot. But the downside of an economy that's too hot is that the price of goods and services that the consumer pays for goes up. And that has been something that's been with us for about 4 years. So since 2020, the average good and services that a person buys is up about 20% in the last 4 years. So that has a real impact on ability to buy and set.
How much of this is still COVID related? Are we still feeling the ripple effects from what went on in this country for 4 years?
In the sense that we spent so much money to juice the economy. So we flooded the system with money. The Federal Reserve did that to fight deflation, to try and keep the economy afloat and to avoid a recession, which they so far have, which is also driving stocks up. Congress spent a whole lot of money under both administrations. This is not a partisan situation, but we flooded the system with money during COVID and after COVID. We put too much in there. We don't have enough supply of things like houses and other things.
All right, so that voice we just heard a moment ago, that was Jerome Powell, chairman of the Fed. He has been kind of doing this, you know, tea leaves fan dance about whether or not these rates are going to come down. We thought we were looking at one coming up in a couple of weeks in June. That's off the table now, apparently. Now we're hearing maybe September. But yet the market seems to be reacting positively. The CPI only ticked down 0.1%. What's going on there? Why do they have so much optimism at so little improvement on that CPI?
Well, I think the stock market is reacting to corporate earnings. So again, with the economy doing very well and consumers spending quite a bit, corporate earnings are up, and I think that's really the driver of the stock market. I've been skeptical that the Federal Reserve is going to cut rates anytime soon. So the Federal Reserve...
Was September still on the table for you?
I don't think so.
No.
I think November at the earliest, personally. And I think that could even get pushed out. Really, for the Fed to begin cutting rates, you need to see the consumer price index, which is the basket of average goods and services that the average consumer buys, increasing at only 2% a year. And as you pointed out, it's at 3.5%. It's been at about 3.5% for a while now. Better than 9, but not near 2.
So you're a financial guy, you're not a political guy, but I've got to ask this. If this cut doesn't come in September and comes in October, some people are going to wonder whether or not there's a political connection there. How independent is the Fed from what's going on right now in the country with this massive presidential race going on?
Very independent. Yeah, there's no politics that are going to influence the Fed. You can ask a lot of presidents. I think George H.W. Bush still blames his loss on the fact that the Fed didn't cut, but at the time, Greenspan was Republican. So the Fed is an independent actor, and so that's actually part of the reason that I don't think Biden is totally to blame for the inflation that we've had. I think the Fed was a little bit late in pulling back its stimulus, but I don't think politics are going to play a factor in it. I think as far as the election goes, we have the economy that we have. I don't think a 25 basis point cut by the Fed is going to change very much. I think mortgage rates are going to stay kind of where they are. The consumer sentiment is going to stay where it is. Inflation has really impacted people's lives, and so we're going to be voting on this economy.
The housing market has had this weird dichotomy right now where there's a lot of demand. housing supply has not been great. People pay attention to stuff like that because it's whether or not you're going to upwardly move up the ladder of housing. Is that a concern point in the economy right now, that we do have people that want to get into the housing market? There was a housing development that was just announced in Bethesda a couple of days ago. They set up a trailer. There was a line around the block overnight. Clearly the demand is there, but the supply isn't there right now.
No, that's exactly the case. And rents have been going up as well. So people really want to get into the housing market so they can begin building wealth and starting a family, but there are just no houses for sale. And the biggest reason for that is that most people in the country have a 3.5% mortgage. And if they went and got a new house, you sell your house, you go buy a different house, you're going to be double that. You're going to be paying 7% on your interest rate. So we call that rate lock effect, and it's just leading people to not want to sell their homes. It means there's not enough housing supply. We really haven't built enough, and we need to do that.
He's Michael Bridey. He's the CEO of Structured Finance Association, and you're going to stick around on the Fox Local After Show with us.
Great, yes.
As well.